So in this video, we're going to talk about why you need to stop letting other people's thinking control you, right? And why do I bring this topic up? Because let's be honest, like as humans, we a lot of the things that we do, a lot of decisions that we make is based on how we want other people to think about us, right? We want people to like us. We want to make friends. We want people to be happy about the things that we do and the choice that we make. We want to get acclimated into society. So we do things based on how we want other people to feel about us, okay? Like one prime example is college. A lot of times, why do people go to college? Obviously, because this has been scripted to us about if you want to be successful in life, you want to be you want to get a good job, you have to go to college, get a good grades, get that degree, and you should have a pretty good life, right? And this has been and we do this because we want our friends and family members to be proud of us. Another thing is there's peer pressure when it comes to going to college, right? Especially when you're in high school and you hear all your friends, oh, they got accepted to this college or they're going to this school. You don't want to be that person not also doing that. Because if you have all your friends going off to college and you're still home and maybe finding a job, you probably don't feel that great about yourself. You feel probably like a loser. So there's peer pressure to also jump in with the crowd and say, "Oh, I'm going to school. I'm gonna be studying this," and this pushes you to be part of the crowd. Okay, and I remember even myself. I remember when I was in college and going probably my sophomore year, I was like, "Yo, why am I here?" I asked the question like, "Why am I here? I don't like it here. I'm not doing well in here, and I just feel like I shouldn't be here." And then you ask your parents like, "All right, what am I doing here?" What do they say? They say, "Yeah, you got to go to college because so and so. You got to get a good job." And this is the stuff this has been scripted to everyone. In order to be successful in life, you have to go to college. Okay, and for me, I was just like, all right, I know this is not what I want to do, but what else am I gonna do? I don't have any other avenue. I don't know anything else, and I guess this is what I gotta do. And it wasn't until I graduated and I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad where I said, okay, this is okay, this is what I want to do. All right, this is what I want to do. And in life, what I've learned is like if you want to be successful, sometimes you have to be willing to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. People doing this, you gotta do that. People going this way, you gotta go that way. And sometimes that's what you have to do in order to be successful in life. And I learned that because life is when you break it down, like life is about choices, right? Life is about choices. Like you are where you are now because of the choices you made in life, right? Unless you live in like a impoverished country or maybe you have some debilitating health issue. If you live in the United States or anywhere in the West, like you are where you are because of choices that you made. And for me, after I graduated college and I read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I said, all right, you know what? I want to go this route. I want to go the entrepreneur route. I want to go the business route. Like that, like I want to go all in on that. That's exactly what, like I read that book. It spoke to me. I said, yeah, this is what I want. And I want to go all in. And that's a choice that I made. Okay. And this is something I wanted to do. And it's funny too, because like when I made that decision, I remember asking myself this question, like, all right, Ralph, like this, are you sure you want to do? Is this what you want to do? Like, aren't you afraid of failing at business, right? Because what they say, like 99% of business fail. And for me, it was just like, I don't think I had that fear. I think I was more afraid of like aspects of business, like maybe speaking in front of a crowd. I probably had fear. That was obviously fear for me, and I did for a lot of people. But business itself is something I didn't really have a fear. For me, like I was more afraid of having to rely on a 9-to-5 job for the rest of my life and regretting not pursuing my purpose. Okay. And this is no knock on anyone doing a 9-to-5. Like I don't disparage anyone that's working, a 9-to-5 job or whatever job that they do. I don't do that. Like if you're doing honest work, then more power to you, right? And that's like we need people working in society, and I would never like knock anyone to doing it. But for me, it's not something I wanted to do. The only thing is like if you're someone that has a certain job and maybe you're not happy with it, or you're not, you want more out of life, then I would be like, all right, I would recommend, hey, maybe starting a business, going to entrepreneurship, doing something for yourself that's going to help you, improve yourself over time. But if you're someone that's happy with a job, but that's something that you want to do, more power to you. But for me, it's not. I was more afraid of doing that, working a 9-to-5 for the rest of my life and regretting not pursuing my purpose. That is what I was afraid of, right? Because then at the end of it, if I failed, let's say, I'm reaching the end of my life and I didn't accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish. At least I could say, you know what, I tried, right? At least I could die saying I tried, right? Instead of living with the regret saying, what could have been if I had pursued this. right? That was something I was more afraid of. Business, you fail at it. I mean, you're gonna fail at business. You try, you fail, you try again, you fail, you try again. All you need is that one successful business to change your life. And I think for me, it was just that's kind of how I looked at it. So after I made that decision, like, all right, how did I get out of, like, how did I eventually, like, escape this script, right? You know, working 9 to 5, the rat race. For me, it was, eventually I made a decision. I said, all right, Ralph, you can't quit. You can't keep quitting this job. You get the office job, you get this job, and you quit. It got to a point where I say, all right, Ralph, you can't keep doing that. So I got me a nice little I was a kickbox instructor, and I did that part-time. I started full-time, then I went part-time. But then while I was doing that, I was also working on those side hustle affiliate marketing business. That was in 2016. And I made my first sale 6 months later for like $3.50, which meant the world to me. But then a year later after that, I was making 5 figures a month, right, in 2018. And then eventually, October 2018, I was able to leave that job. And because I made enough money, I was able to leave that job, and I was able to take that money and pay off a lot of debt, get rid of all the debt, make sure I managed my money and put in some investments. And I was able to let that money last me while I was working on other things. Now, eventually that money ran out because I got complacent. But it allowed me to it was a learning experience. And eventually, as that money was running out, I was able to also, you know, fix up a home and also sell that home and make some money as well. And because I got that money, it allowed me some time to continue to work on my purpose. Because I haven't had to work a job since 2018. I haven't worked for anyone, right? I've been always working for myself. But because I've been able to make sure I kept my expenses low, and make sure I manage my money properly, I'm able to take that money and put it into accounts where it's also making me money, and it gives me time until I'm working on other businesses that's going to eventually get to a point where that income is exceeding my expenses. Because that's what it ultimately comes down to. If you can create a business or create a little side hustle where that income is eventually exceeding whatever income that you're working at right now, and it gets to a point where it's covering your expenses, then you're free. Right? You're free to do whatever you want. You're free to control your income and dictate how you live your life. Okay, you're free from that rat race, and that's what I think. That's a goal for a lot of people, right? Eventually, get out of that rat race and get to a point where they're dictating what kind of income that they're creating for themselves. Okay, and for me, is it's like, and that's what it takes sometimes. Like if you want that, create that life for yourself, you have to do the opposite. Sometimes you have to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing, right? For a lot of people, business is a very hard thing. Right, it's a very scary thing, right? When people hear, 99% of people fail in business, that scares a lot of people. They're like, you know, what's the point? I'm not even going to do it because more than likely you're going to fail. But for those that say, yeah, that's where I want to go because I'm not afraid of that failure, and and regardless of how many failures that you actually come across, you're still pushing through. Those are the people that get to a point where they're saying, hey, you know what? Eventually to succeed, because they understand that in order to succeed, you have to fail. And they're not going to let any little failure scare them from actually accomplishing the greater picture, the greater goal, which is that freedom, right? Freedom to not have to be a slave to the clock, right? Where you can dictate your income, right? You don't have to wait for a 3% raise the next year in order to get the things that you want in life, right? Where you can spend time with your friends and family. You have freedom of choice to do what you want. And this is what people want, autonomy. They want that freedom. And it's hard because if you're stuck to a job or maybe you have a lot of debt, then you have to stay at that job because you have to pay off that debt. But once you reduce that debt and you're free from all that debt bondage, then you have more power to control what you want to do with your life. And it's a process. It's not something that happens overnight. It is a process. But in order to do that, you really have to get to a point where you're not allowing other people other people's thinking, what people think about you, to dictate what you do with your life, right? You have to get to a point where, you know what, you don't care, and you're saying, you know what, I have a vision of what I want to do, and you pursue it, right? And you have a passion to pursue that, and you go for it, right? You go all in, okay? So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and share. If you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe. All right, so guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.